Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Malone.
Yeah, Coach.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing well, man. Good to be on with you guys again.
Hey, great to see you again. Obviously, this time around, you are becoming a TV pundit, a good one at that. You need to understand you're doing a great job. Don't change for shit.
Well, I only got one game under my belt, so I got a lot of room for improvement.
No, but don't change. That's what I'm saying. Don't worry about it. Don't change. Just be you. Okay. There might be somebody.
I appreciate it.
There might be somebody who thinks they're in a position to give you advice because they have maybe done TV school or something like that, and they're trying to be nice. Now, granted, there's some people out there that'll give you great advice, but me, looking at you, just be you.
Right.
Okay, your resume's good, your personality's fantastic, and the way you talk, you make dipshits like me feel like I'm understanding what's going on. Now, with that being said, do I understand what's going on with this Pacers team? It feels like 3 times now, miraculous comebacks late in the game. Is there a reason that that's happening? And is that reason potentially because Carlisle has these boys running? Do other teams potentially get worn out and the Pacers think that they can capitalize when these teams are out? Or what do you think it is about this Indiana Pacer team, Coach?
Well, I'll tell you what, the question I'm asking myself, Pat, is this a team of destiny? You just showed all those plays. They're never out. You can see the belief they have, not only in themselves, but in the collective. And Rick Carlisle, who you've mentioned a few times, won a championship in Dallas, doing an outstanding job of coaching this team, using his bench. When I watched them play last night in Game 1, they are relentless in everything they do. Go back to the very first basket they scored last night. They made the basket. 3 guys picked up full court. They extend their pressure. They're trying to wear Jalen Brunson out. He came back in the game with 5 fouls. They went at him every time. But they're never out of a game because they believe in themselves. And that starts with Rick Carlisle. Tyrese Halliburton is putting that team on his back. And then you mentioned it, Aaron Nesmith last night, 30 points, 8 of 9 from 3. And in the fourth quarter, the Knicks, and I think Tom Thibodeau talked about this after the game, they didn't find Aaron Nesmith. This guy was going nuclear in the Garden, and he hits 3 after 3, 20 points in the fourth quarter. And you talked about it. You're down by 9 points with under a minute to go, and they're able to force overtime and win the game. And I just thought about it afterwards. Is this team destined for greatness because they keep on finding improbable ways of winning games on the biggest stage in the world?
Okay, so on that note, team of destiny and them finding ways and never losing belief or confidence that they can come back and win it because they've obviously done it now multiple times in the Mecca is what they call in New York City. That game was awesome.
Incredible.
That game was a great start to the conference finals for the NBA. Answer. Pull away. And then obviously you have the biggest comeback, quickest comeback in the history of the sport. That is exactly what the NBA envisioned in this entire thing. But whenever you think about this Pacer team, last year they make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. Nobody really talks about them, though, because they get swept by the Boston Celtics. Just swept. Then the Olympics happened. Tyrese Halliburton doesn't even play. So he literally doesn't even step foot on the court. So, well, he did, but you get it. Wasn't a part of the team. So there was no conversation about how great the Pacer season was last year, how young of a team they were, how Pascal got traded in mid-season. There was never any chatter nationally or even locally about, hey, that was a hell of a Pacers year. It just kind of got swept away because of how it ended. Do you think having that maturity and having that experience from last year helps them? And what is the direct correlation to having been there before in your eyes as somebody that's been there talking to a team?
Well, experience is the best teacher, right? And you talked about them being there last year and losing to the eventual champion Boston Celtics. I think continuity is really important in this business. Obviously the Knicks last year played against Indiana. They were not healthy. They've added Karl Anthony Towns. They've added Mikal Bridges. Where Indiana's got consistency, they've got continuity. You have a coaching staff that's been in place and won at the highest level. So you have to give them a lot of credit in terms of their approach, their belief. They went into Cleveland last round and took games 1 and 2. They're not afraid to go into any arena in the NBA and find a way to win a game. You watch them play and you can feel and sense the belief that they have, and that is a powerful thing. We won a championship in Denver 2 years ago. Our players had that same belief. We felt we could go anywhere and beat anybody anytime, and that's a powerful thing. And I think Rick Carlisle coaching staff and their players continue to show that and illustrate that. So I would agree, Pat. I think having that continuity, having that belief, having been there before, can be a powerful thing as you try to get to the NBA Finals.
Okay, so obviously it looks like the Eastern Conference Finals is going to be electrifying, and I think Tyrese even brought up that shot there from Jalen and that shot from Kat about how they were talking about, do you think your guys' style make other people get tired, especially this late into the season? There's 100 games or whatever people have already played. And Tyrese mentioned, he was like, I don't know. I'm not them, obviously. He said, but Jalen, normally at the end of those games, knocks those shots down. Short, a little bit of short. Obviously, it was great defense there. And then Kat gets this, short. It's like, were they tired? Or was it just trying to get it up quick? It's like, I don't know what you could say because you're not that other team. But in a best-of-7 series, with the way this team runs and the way they're bought in, it's like, they're like a hockey team. They're like not scared to, we'll wear you down. Here, we will. You might score, sweet. You're running a gasser then. You're coming back the other way. And it feels like this year they're healthier and more confident than they've ever been. Shout out to the Eastern Conference Finals delivering. Now, let's go to the Western Conference here. This Oklahoma City team, obviously they've only lost 14 games all year. SGA is officially the MVP of the NBA season. We've obviously heard you speak about Oklahoma City. We've obviously heard you speak about the MVP. People get all worked up, because you're saying compliments to another player and another arena and another fan base in the Western Conference. That comes with the territory of being on TV. This is standard operating procedure. So I obviously hope you don't take anything into that from what people are saying. But what is it about this OKC team? What is it about them that makes them so dangerous, so lethal, and why have they been so dominant? I know Chet's big. I know SGA is an absolute dog. Harvenstein here is an absolute guy. They got people all over the place, and the coach, people are saying, is this guy's the guy. What is it about them you think that makes them so difficult as somebody that's obviously had to play against them?
Well, everything you just said, but the one thing that really stands out to me that separates them from everybody else is their defense. And if you want to dig deeper into that defense, it's their ability to turn you over, it's the ability to generate turnovers, and more importantly, to turn those steals and turnovers forced into points on the other end. And if you want to go back to that first game, obviously, it comes down to the ability to take care of the ball for Minnesota. If they're going to have a chance to try to get a game tonight in probably the loudest and toughest place to play in the NBA, they cannot beat themselves. And they did that in game one. Way too many turnovers. That fueled OKC's break. Minnesota had 0 fast break points. And if you're going to play against the number one defense in the regular season, the number one defense in the playoffs, you've got to find a way to get some easy baskets. You cannot play in a crowd. They're sitting on Anthony Edwards, they're sitting on Julius Randle, collapsing on every time they drive the ball. So they've got to trust their teammates. But here's the key. They need Naz Reid, they need Dante DiVincenzo, and they need Nickeil Alexander-Walker to make shots, because until they do so, Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards are going to continue to see a crowd each and every possession.
Yeah, Julius Randle went for 20 in the first half last game, and then next to nothing in the second half, which a lot of people are saying that's incredible coaching, what they're doing, and what you're just pointing out there. I forgot about Caruso. I should have given Caruso his love. He looks awesome down here in Oklahoma City. Feels like that's where he's supposed to be. Feels like a college environment when I'm watching it, which is what I think goes to your point about the best arena in all of NBA. But let's talk about their star player. Go ahead, Con Man.
Yeah, Coach, I'm glad Pat brought up Caruso, because people are saying if Caruso was guarding SGA, he'd foul out in 5 minutes. How do you feel about the entire conversation with the foul baiting? A lot of people are not too happy with the SGA and Brunson kind of style of play. But, we looked at it yesterday. If you were to take away all of the free throws, SGA is still leading the league in scoring. So what do you think about that entire conversation? And then also, how would you coach against an SGA or a Brunson where maybe they do get calls that other guys don't, but you still have to remain physical with them throughout the game?
Well, it's definitely a challenge, and people can complain all they want, but all year long, Shea was one of the top guys in the NBA in terms of free throw attempts per game. That continues into the postseason, and you've got to be a lot more disciplined. Jaden McDaniels fouled out. He can't foul out these coming games if they're going to have a chance to slow Shea down, because he's their best defensive matchup. But you've got to be disciplined. You've got to show your hands. You've got to stay down on shot fakes. You know he's going to get a whistle. There are certain guys in this league that we call foul artists. They have the ability to understand how the game is being called, and they have little tricks to make sure they're getting the call. So as a defender, whether you're the primary defender on the ball or a help defender, you've got to know that the referees are going to be looking for that. So be a lot more disciplined. And if you're going to have a chance of beating them, you can't put Shea on the foul line 14 times. That's way too many. They compounded mistakes in game one, whether it was off of a turnover, a drive, or a pick and roll of getting called for the fouls. Because that allows, the big key with that, fellas, is he goes to the foul line 14 times. That's 14 times where they're setting their defense, and as I keep on mentioning, their defense is elite. And I'm glad you mentioned Alex Caruso because I think their bench does not get enough credit. They have a really good starting five, but Alex Caruso, Kason Wallace, Andrew Wiggins, Kenrich Williams last game.
Deep.
All come in and have a huge impact in meaningful minutes. So we're talking about the depth of Indiana. I think OKC in the Western Conference, very similar. They can wear you down. They have a lot of depth, and deep teams this time of year are dangerous teams.
Yeah, because somebody's going to get injured too. I mean, that's just kind of what basketball is, especially in the best of 7 series. So being able to have somebody replace that, great. During games, being able to have somebody get some minutes in. You know, like for Carlisle, it's obvious that he just brings some people in and like, run. Just let's run. Yeah. Let's run these dudes. And it's, I love the strategy, and I think all of Indiana loves it. Let's go back to the flopping and the foul artist, I think is how you described it. Great term, and we will start using it as if we created it ourselves. We will give you credit every once in a while, but just know that we will certainly say it and act like we did it and made it up ourselves. Do you talk to refs? Like all the refs, I guess there's only a certain amount of refs. So you guys know all the refs pretty well. I think it's a pretty personal relationship between players, coaches, and referees because you're all out there and you're all a tight group. I get it. But refs know that like a lot of these replays are going to showcase that maybe there wasn't something. And do you talk to the refs before the game, during the game? How do those kind of go as opposing coaches with some of these calls?
Well, there's no doubt. And the one thing that you guys should know is during the playoffs, anytime I contact the league office after a game or I send clips in, is rule where the league is going to make sure they share that with the opposing coaching staff. So they want full transparency. They want everybody to be on the same page. But I remember we were playing Golden State in the playoffs one year, and they gave us the post-game review. And they admitted that they missed 6 fouls on Draymond Green in one game. And I go, well, listen, man, you can't miss 6 fouls in a game. That is just not acceptable. You have to make sure we are letting the next crew that's coming in to ref the next game, give them a feel for what's happening and how this game needs to be officiated better. And I always give the league credit because they always strive for being transparent and helping the league out. But at the end of the day, great players like Shea, and that's what he is, like Jalen Brunson, that's what he is, had 43 points last night in a loss. They're going to get the benefit of the whistle. That's just the way it is. And the fans want to watch the best players play. They don't want to watch them on the bench. And you just have to deal with it. And you got to get your players to understand that and feel for how the game is being officiated. And I expect Minnesota to come out. Chris Finch is a hell of a coach. I think he'll have his group ready to play tonight.
I think with the way the game is constructed, the way the rules are constructed, and that it's humans blowing the whistle and everything's happening so fast, I think they're destined to get something wrong. Which always, in basketball, I think you're destined to get, just because everything can be considered a foul. Like for us, holding on the offensive line in football can be called all the time. It can be called all the time. So it's like, is it egregious? Is it not egregious? And then a ref just gets a little flag happy, and all of a sudden it happens. Like, officiating sucks. Okay, it's not fun. I don't know why anybody signs up for it, but we do appreciate those who do it. But basketball feels like the one where it's the most like, and then we go in 8K super slow-mo, and it's like, no, actually not. I think that's a tough job. That's a tough job, especially with the way they do. Like, Tyrese had a little leg kick last night on Jalen Brunson, and Jalen actually said, he kicked me, and you can only see it in, like, from the behind angle, slow motion. Tyrese definitely did put his leg right into Jalen Brunson's groin, and then he hits him, and then Tyrese does the thing. It's like, ooh, that's a little work right there. But if you're a ref, how could you ever get it right?
Brunson took Neesmith's arm at one point in the game.
Slapped himself with it. Yeah, foul artist, baby. Yeah. That's a foul artist. Okay, let's talk about the team you chit-chatted about there, Minnesota being prepared for it. Go ahead, Tone.
Yeah, Coach. Obviously, we talked a lot about OKC and how great they are. Ant Edwards on the other side, it feels like he's one of the young players in this league who probably doesn't give a shit how good the other team is. It's just kind of how he's wired. He's kind of an old school young NBA player. How do you feel about Ant Edwards, and is he, is he one of the more equipped young players to put a team on his back and lead them to victory?
There's no doubt, and I've seen it, unfortunately, up close and personal. Game 7 last year, we're up 20 in our building in one of the crazier playoff series I've ever been a part of, and Ant Edwards puts that team on his back in that second half, and they come back and beat us. What I need to see from Anthony Edwards tonight, what the Minnesota Timberwolves need to see from Anthony Edwards tonight, is aggression. Only took 13 shots in Game 1, and the craziest stat of that is only one of those 13 shots were in the paint. We think of Anthony Edwards, we think of dynamic athlete, aggression, attacking the basket. They need to find a way to get out in transition. Once again, 0 fast break points. Anthony Edwards in the open floor is exciting, dynamic, athletic. And we need to see more of that because you don't want to play against that set defense over and over and over again. I expect Chris Finch to get him off the ball a little bit more, let him get off catch and shoot, pin downs, let him attack. But he is confident. He's been here before, and I expect him to have a great game tonight. And we talked a little earlier about Julius Randle, third quarter, 0 points, only 1 shot after having a great first half. Anthony Edwards in Game 1, fourth quarter, 0 points, only 1 shot. He cannot take 13 shots tonight. He's got to take 25, and for him to do that, it's got to be in transition in the open court with an attack mindset.
Okay. And we all want to see it from Anthony Edwards.
Yeah.
That OKC team is just
explosive.
They really are. It just 14 losses. Mm-hmm. And all year, all the conversation was, we need to be talking about OKC more. Need to be talking about OKC more because OKC, obviously small market, how people chat about it. Western Conference has 45 other stories. 45 other stories in the Western Conference. So it's like, well, it's hard to just talk about OKC, but all the basketball people were like OKC. And then you watch them do their thing and it's like, this team, as you look down, they're up 15. It's like, whoa, they're very dynamic. And also lock it down on the defensive side.
Yeah, someone on TV yesterday said they won the triple crown of defense this year. They were like first in perimeter D, first in interior D, and first in opponents' points.
They're bopping the wood.
Yeah. They bop wood.
Okay, let's go to the Eastern Conference. Don't say, whoa, easy with the way you're thinking about that there, Coach. Let's go back to the Eastern Conference. Yeah, absolutely bopping wood. Yeah, we heard you. Ty has a question for you, Coach.
Yeah, Coach, we've talked a lot about the Pacers' depth and obviously Oklahoma City's depth. When you're watching that game last night, is there any way that the Knicks can withstand the pace of play and the style of the play, play that the Pacers, use if they're only playing 7 to 8 guys off the bench? Like at some point, does Tibbs have to say like, hey, even though some of these guys didn't get much burn during the regular season, like we can't keep playing 7 guys when they're rotating 11, 12 guys out there because come game 3, if they haven't got one, like they're just not going to have anything left.
Well, yeah, it's a great question. And you get to the Eastern Conference Finals and you're the New York Knicks coaching staff. It's hard to just adjust and say, you know what, we're going to change our rotation now. We're going to go to a 9-man rotation. They only played 2 guys off the bench last night, double-figure minutes. Obviously, we all know how deep Indiana is. They're so deep that you guys realize that Miles Turner, who got off to a great start last night, how many minutes did Miles Turner play in the fourth quarter last night? 2. Right? You had guys like Ben Shepherd, Obi Toppin in the game late, and that's what Rick Carlisle's done all season long. His depth is ridiculous. He trusts his bench, and I learned a long time ago from my father, the greatest gift you can give a player is confidence. And all those players know that Rick Carlisle has great confidence in them to go out there, regardless of the time, score, situation, to do their job. And to answer your question, I don't think there's anything the Knicks can do to change how fast and how relentless and the pace in which the Pacers play. Because they're a great running team, and unlike most other great running teams, they run after makes better than anybody else. So it was a track meet. You score on them, they get that ball out of the net, inbounds, and up the floor faster than anybody I've ever seen. And then they pick up on the other end. So they're relentless in their approach. They come at you for 48 or overtime if it needs to be. And I don't think there's anything the Knicks can do in the middle of this series to change that. That is Indiana's style of play, and they've been doing it all season long.
Do you ever see a guy hit his head off the rim like 4 times in a 2-minute span? Obi Toppin. Yeah. I mean, he even on Jalen. Jalen had his sick make after Obi did his double pump dunk in overtime. He's also fouled, which should have been on the foul line. But I think everybody was so mesmerized by him doing a double pump in a dunk, taking it to the rack the way here. Hey! He got fouled clearly. Clearly got fouled. Would have been a 4-point game if he would have knocked down the free throw, which we assume he would have. I think Jalen, before this or after this, had like a little floater. Obi jumped up to swat it, almost hit his head off the rim. I mean, Jalen put it up over top of him. It was like all the pieces play. And that's kind of the word about the Pacers from all the basketball people that I hear talk is like, you never know who it's going to be each night. Literally every night. You talk about Miles Turner having a great start and only playing 2 minutes in the fourth. He had some time in overtime, didn't go great. I think he's going to want to get that taste out of his mouth as well next game, which would be great. But he can go for 30. Mm-hmm. Miles Turner can go for 30 in game 2, and nobody would be surprised. It's a fun time to be a basketball fan. You're crushing it on TV. Keep going, boss.
Hey, guys, I appreciate it. I'm going to go bop the wood, and I'll talk to you soon.